Hello, welcome everyone. Nice to see you. This is immigration attorney Moumita Rahman, and I'm coming to you live to talk to you about immigration and to see the important questions that you may have on your mind. I will do my best to answer as many questions tonight that I can as I go live. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is Moumita Rahman. I am an immigration attorney. I am licensed in the wonderful state of New York, but I work with immigration clients all over the US, and it is my pleasure to do the work that I do because I believe that immigrants make America great already. However, the immigration journey is very, very complicated and it's very tough, and that is why I am here today. So today I'm going to start off with a special question, which is, can you still remove the conditions on your green card even though your card is expired and you have been divorced for more than 2 years? I'll go into this very, very important topic right now. But before I do so, again, I'd like to thank you for joining me live. I am live now on several different channels, including TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you're not following me there, go ahead and give me a follow. And if you need to give me a call for a consultation, my telephone number is 212-248-7907. All right, so let's get right into it and make sure you drop in your questions. I'll do my best to answer as many questions live. Hi, Liz, I see you there. So if your green card, your 2-year green card has already expired and you have been divorced for several years, can you still remove the conditions on your green card and get a 10-year green card and then move on to citizenship? The answer to this is maybe, perhaps, because something that people are not always aware of is the fact that they believe that just because the 2-year green card has already expired means that they cannot remove the conditions anymore. And this is simply not true. When you have gotten divorced, you may be eligible to ask for a waiver of your joint filing requirement on your removal of conditions application. And what is not known commonly is that there is actually no deadline for filing for a waiver on your I-751 application. That's correct. There is no deadline. You can apply as early as you want or as late as you need to, because divorces can take a very long time. And there are 2 types of waivers for which there is not really any deadline, which is the waiver for a divorce. That is when your marriage that you got your green card through terminates in a legal termination of marriage through the divorce process, or when you have suffered extreme cruelty or battery during the course of your marriage. That's right. Even if your card is expired, you can still submit this application. However, this is not to say that you should let your card expire. As soon as you see the need to file your application, as soon as you know that you're about to get divorced, as soon as you know that you are suffering through your relationship and that it may not be possible to do this joint application, it may not be possible to continue this process with your spouse, you should be speaking to an attorney right away. Do not delay, because if your card does expire, even though you will still be able to submit your application for the I-751, that does not mean that you may still get a letter to show up in immigration court, because you may still receive an NTA because your card has expired. And immigration court basically means that you will be in deportation proceedings. You will also lose basically the ability to prove that you are still in legal status because the card has expired. That is why if you have a 2-year green card and you see that you need to do something because your marriage is not going well, you're about to get divorced, you're separated already, or you're just basically in the situation where your spouse is saying that they're not going to help you, give us a call right now, okay? 212-248-7907. And again, even if your card is expired, if you had a 2-year green card, the thing is that at all stages of the game, you have to prove that your marriage was real and that you entered into that marriage in good faith. So what happens if you don't really have a lot of evidence in your case? And that is why I will explore with you to see if you may be eligible for something called a waiver for extreme cruelty and battery. And even then, even if you have very little evidence of your marriage and you are only going to be doing a divorce waiver, do not worry. These are the sort of complicated cases that I help with and that I have gotten approved in many, many cases where clients do not have a lot of evidence, where they have few witnesses, and even if the marriage was over many, many years ago, okay? So give us a call, 212-248-7907. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions right now. And hello to David Hernandez, hola, and Rosalyn, buenas tardes. Soraya Reality TV is asking, for a VAWA case, at any point can they contact the abuser? Soraya, Thank you for this question. Now, those of you who have been watching me for a very, very long time know that I'm frequently talking about something called VAWA. And VAWA stands for the Violence Against Women's Act, and it is a way for people to ask for a green card when they have been married to a U.S. citizen or to a green card holder that has caused them to suffer extreme cruelty and or battery. Extreme cruelty is basically, in the simplest terms, emotional abuse, manipulation, guilt tripping, cursing at you, making you feel, feel threatened at all, or many times, or at all times. And battery is physical abuse. That means when they have actually raised their hands to you. If you have suffered any of these and you were married to a U.S. citizen during this time and they were the ones that did this to you, then you may be able to ask for a green card on your own through VAWA. Now, many people who are even eligible for VAWA are very reluctant to file for it because they are afraid of their spouse finding out, or of their spouse being contacted, or of the spouse being harmed. The thing is, though, that VAWA is a completely confidential process, and the government is not allowed to contact your spouse, okay? They're not going to contact them, and moreover, your spouse is not going to suffer any sort of legal consequence or any sort of harm as a result of you making this application. It is, in fact, your right. The law exists to help protect you and to help you get your legal status, and you will be able to use VAWA for your own benefit without harming your spouse. And you may even be able to file for VAWA and ask for your work permit, ask for your travel document, ask for your green card. Even if you entered the country illegally, you do not need to leave the U.S. in order to ask for the protection of VAWA, okay? No, so Soraya, in short, they will not contact your spouse. Jesus, hello, hola, ¿cómo estás? Okay, let's see what questions I have on Instagram right now. Hello, Chicago, USA. He's asking, how long will the I-601A take to approve? The I-601A waiver is taking on average about a year to a year and a half right now. Princess Amy is asking, why is every process so slow? Every process in immigration is so slow right now because of the fact that the government is very, very understaffed. COVID-19 has had a big impact on processing times and the ability for government workers to do their job. Mexicano is asking, hola, tengo un castigo permanente. ¿Qué puedo hacer para arreglar? Estoy casado con una americana. El mexicano puede llamarnos al 212-248-7907 si su esposa está tratando a usted mal, si posible aplicar para VAWA. Y con esta aplicación voy a ver si es posible remove el castigo permanente, ¿ok? Se puede llamarnos. Okay, Carlos Garcia is asking, my girlfriend lives in Mexico. We have one kid. He was born over there. What can we do for me to bring him here? Carlos, okay. So Carlos, if your son is in Mexico and he was born there and you are a U.S. citizen, it is very possible for you to be able to transmit your U.S. citizenship to your child. However, the rules of transmission of citizenship are actually very, very different. You have to be able to meet certain physical presence rules inside the U.S. It's a little bit complicated. You can give us a call. And if your son does qualify for that, if he is eligible for that, then you can basically ask for a report of consular birth abroad from the consulate in Mexico. And if that doesn't work, if you do not meet the rules to transmit your citizenship to your child, then the process would be to do an I-130 and to basically get your child an immigrant visa to bring him here to the U.S., okay? So give us a call, Carlos, 212-248-7907. And the good news is that if you have had children born abroad and you are a U.S. citizen, if you are able to transmit your citizenship to them, the process is slightly complicated, but a little bit more straightforward, because what you would do is you would basically ask the consulate to issue this consular report of birth abroad. And then with that, you would be able to get a U.S. passport for your child, okay? What to do if NBC denied my expedite request with medical paper? I had to wait a year from Dia T. Diale. So if NBC or any other immigration agency has denied your expedite request, what are your options? Well, the simple answer to this is you can try again. However, if they denied your request the first time, you should really reevaluate what sort of evidence that you gave to NBC or to USCIS to ask for an expedite of your case, and you may want to beef it up. Whenever people have come to me to request help on expediting a case, we basically treat it like a mini waiver almost. If you are familiar with the perdón or the waiver, we treat expedite requests like that. And if you need assistance with that, give us a call, 212-248-7907. Thank you for the roses, Stingray. Daisy Swag is asking, hi, I'm a Canadian citizen. How can I get a work permit in the USA? So if you are interested in getting a work permit in the USA, you basically need to fit into one of three categories, which is either a humanitarian case type, a family case type, or a work-based case type. And for this, everything is very different. So you basically either have to have the proper family relationship to ask for a green card, and through that you can get a work permit, or if you qualify for something like asylum or some other things and you don't have the family, then you can ask for that. If you're in the US without status, it'll be very hard to get it through work. And Carlos Garcia, you don't need to be married yet, but you may have to take extra steps to legitimize your child, okay? Okay, and Amy is asking, thank you, Soraya. I had the same question. And Amy is also asking, can I file for citizenship through VAWA after being married to a US citizen for 4 years who has never filed for my green card? Amy, thank you for your question. And the answer is yes. If you qualify for VAWA and you are getting your green card through VAWA, it's approved through VAWA, you can actually apply for US citizenship after 3 years. And it does not matter that your spouse never files for you. As long as you meet the eligibility requirements for VAWA, then we can go ahead and apply for that and hopefully get you approved, okay? Give us a call, Amy, 212-248-7907. Bibi Nelly is asking, thanks for the wonderful work. How about if someone divorced for years back because of ill treatment of spouse and the spouse couldn't file for her before the divorce, can the person qualify for VAWA? Bibi Nelly, thank you for your question. So yes, again, the answer to this is this. If you qualify for VAWA and if you've been listening to me talk all this time, all these videos, I'm constantly talking about the ways that your spouse could be hurting you instead of helping you. And if you did go through these things and your marriage was real and you also shared a home together and you have good moral character, that is something that I will analyze. Even if you have arrest, you may still qualify to show that you have good moral character. Bibi Nelly, then even if you have been divorced for years, you may still qualify for VAWA as long as the divorce is not more than 2 years old. If your divorce happened more than 2 years ago, Nelly, then it may be too late. But I would still love to speak with you to see what else we can do, because let's just say that you don't qualify for VAWA, right? Let's just say that you don't qualify for VAWA because number one, you never married the person, or number two, you never lived together, or number three, you got divorced more than 2 years ago. Then I would still look to see if you may qualify for a couple of other things. And here are two types of cases that may still apply in a lot of domestic relationships. Number one is the U visa. If if your partner or your spouse hurt you physically, if you've been the victim of domestic violence, and you got some sort of, even if you never got injured, if you call the police, if you reported it, then we may be able to get you something called a U visa. And the U visa is also a pathway to a green card as well. Now, let's talk about something else. This is called the T visa. T stands for trafficking, and trafficking may sound very, 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 very serious, but in reality, trafficking can exist in a partnership, in a marriage, in a domestic relationship, and people don't always think of it this way. But consider whether your spouse has ever treated you basically like a slave, like you felt that you were forced to work night and day. Did your partner actually force you to go to work? Did your partner force you to turn over your wages? Did they ever not let you leave the house? Would they only, let's say, for example, would they only ever give you food or money for groceries if you had sex with them or if you did something in the house, right? Was there basically an exchange for services? Did you get treated were you controlled with fear and all these sorts of things? If that is the case, then, I would love to evaluate to see if you might qualify for a T visa, because a T visa is also a pathway to a green card. And something that is really, really beneficial about T visas is that we can fix a wide variety of immigration violations through this. So let's say that you may have the permanent bar. You may have the permanent bar, or you have other sorts of immigration violations that you've been worried about, other criminal violations. The T visa may be able to fix all of those, okay? So thank you for your question. Los Yu is saying that I called you, but nobody calls me back. Los Yu, make sure you give us a call. You can put your number here and I'll have my staff get to it, okay? If we haven't called you back, I apologize. We do get a lot of phone calls. All right. A Batia is asking, can I travel abroad while on removal proceedings with a valid stamp on my passport? A Batia, the only persons, if you're in removal proceedings and you want to travel abroad, the main thing to ask is, do you already have a green card? Did you already have a green card before you got put into removal proceedings? Because if you already have a green card, then officially you are still a resident until a judge says otherwise by the end of your case. So yes, if you have the valid I-551 stamp in your passport, then you may be able to travel without consequence, but always talk to your lawyer before you do anything, okay? But if you filed for asylum, for example, or you never had status and now you're in removal and you want to go travel, it may not be possible and you can actually be in danger of self-deporting yourself, okay? All right. Approved U visa, how long does the green card take? From Murad. Murad, if you have gotten your U visa approved, then you have to wait a total of 36 months, 3 years in the US before you can apply for the green card. Ma'am, what does a master calendar hearing mean? Master calendar hearing is something that you would have to go to if you are in removal proceedings. And in removal proceedings, there are two types of hearings. One is called a master calendar hearing, and the second is called the individual hearing. The master calendar hearing are more like pretrial conferences. They're like they're like smaller hearings where the judge is not making any decisions really, but the individual hearing or the merit hearing is basically your final trial where you get to prove your case and you get to ask the judge to grant you whatever you're asking for. Can you please tell me what is the marriage-based green card timeline total? From Jay Hind. Jay Hind and anyone else who is doing the marriage process. Whenever you are doing the marriage process, the first question that I would have is, what part of the country are you in? Because your timeline is going to vary greatly depending on where you live, because for most people, an interview is required for the marriage process. And you may end up waiting just a few months for the interview, or you may end up waiting more than a year. So on average, I like to say that a marriage green card case can take between anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half, depending on where you live, okay? Can you appeal a citizenship denial? Yes, if you have been denied your citizenship, then you can file something called the N336. That is basically the appeal. If I forgot to file my taxes for 1 year, which I did now, can I still apply for my citizenship? From Stingray? Stingray and anyone who's looking to become a citizen, you need to be caught up on your taxes. If you have forgotten to file your taxes, that is no good. You need to catch up, file your taxes, get on a payment plan with the IRS. As a U.S. citizen, you have a duty, even if you're not a citizen, if you're a green card holder, or even if you're not even documented, you're still required to file taxes. And if you're going to ask for that ultimate, citizenship request, then you've got to make sure you're up to date, okay? Or get on a payment plan. My son-in-law crossed a border into the U.S. He's in Cuba and he files for asylum. From Shadia. Hopefully he's got a good lawyer. Rissa saying, I called and left a voicemail and never got a call back. Rissa, we actually don't have voicemail. We only have live people answering the phones. So there's actually no way to leave us a voicemail. But if you weren't able to get through, give us a call again, 212-248-7907. We do have some people on the phones right now, okay? And thank you for sharing my lives. How long does it take to get a green card after the biometrics appointment? From Jeanette. Jeanette, it takes normally about a year, I would say, more or less, after you get your biometrics done. Is it true if you were in the USA for more than 10 years and have a US-born child and always have to pay taxes, you can get a green card? From Gija Kluna. Gija Kluna, it's not true. So whenever I hear this, when I get the question, can you get a green card based upon being here for 10 years and having a child and paying taxes? The answer is no, you cannot. However, if you are in deportation proceedings, you have a case in front of a judge in the immigration court, then if you have been here for 10 years, you have a U.S. citizen child, son, or a parent who would suffer exceptional and unusual hardship without you here, and you're a person of good moral character, then you can ask for something called cancellation of removal. Does my husband have to go to Juarez for his interview, and how will he come back? from It's May. It's May 20, whether your husband has to go or not will depend on the sort of case that he does. I would be happy to evaluate his case 212-248-7907. And how he will come back is by getting approved. If he does not get approved, then he'll receive a denial and he'll have to start his process all over again while he's outside. Where am I located? I'm located in New York City, in downtown Manhattan, near the World Trade Center. However, I work with clients all over the US, okay? So don't be afraid to give us a call. Geography is not a barrier for us. We work very, very efficiently through all sorts of virtual means. Okay. Lost You, what you can do, is there another way to contact me here? Give us a call right now, Lost You, 212-248-7907, and let my staff know that I just told you to give us a call, okay? We've got people on the phones right now. Or Lost You, you can give us a message through Instagram, okay? And Abatia says that I have my I-751 denied. Abatia, as long as you have refiled and you've got the stamp, you may be able to proceed, but make sure you discuss with your attorney, okay? And if you need help on your case, give us a call, 212-248-7907. Is it possible to invite a parent or sibling to the U.S. if I am a green card holder? From Amy. Amy, yes, you can invite anyone to the U.S. Who's applying for a visit visa. It doesn't matter if you're a green card holder or a citizen. However, definitely they have to go through their own process for the visit visa, and they have to be approved on their own individual merits. Just giving an invitation doesn't usually guarantee that they're going to get approved, okay? What are the options for a green card holder married with somebody who overstayed their visa? From Zara. Zara, there's going to be two options. One is if you naturalize, if you become a U.S. citizen, then any overstay that your spouse has doesn't matter anymore, and we still have to make sure they are qualified in every other way. But generally, when you're the spouse of a U.S. citizen and you have overstayed your visa, getting a green card through the adjustment of status process is not generally an issue. It's not a barrier. However, if you don't ever become a citizen, your spouse can still get a green card. However, they would need to do a waiver, and they would need to go through their consulate overseas, and it takes a little bit longer and it's a lot more complicated, okay? Zara, you can give us a call, 212-248-7907. Can I do VAWA? From Stepchild, from Raj Singh. Raj Singh, if you have a child and you suffered extreme cruelty or battery and your child suffered extreme cruelty or battery from your U.S. citizen spouse, then yes, they may be able to file for VAWA, okay? If your wife files for you in the U.S. and you have political persecution in your country, can that affect, and you come into the country on a boat, can that affect your green card process? Please, from Frankie. Frankie, yes. If you don't have a legal entry into the U.S. and your wife wants to apply for you, you may have to do something called an I-601A waiver because you don't have a lawful admission to the country. However, I would be interested to evaluate your case for either VAWA or for asylum or a U or a T visa to see if you might qualify for one of those instead, okay? I'm married to a citizen. All petitions were denied. I'm trying to divorce to no avail. What can I do? My partner is nowhere to be found. I have no documents together before he disappeared on me. From Daniela. Daniela, goodness, I'm so sorry to hear this. When a spouse abandons you, this is actually a form of manipulation and control. And I would be very interested to see if you qualify for VAWA. I know that you're saying that you don't have any documents together. However, you'd be surprised the sort of evidence that you can come up with if you just ask around and look around. So give us a call, Daniela, 212-248-7907. Even though your spouse has abandoned you and everything's been denied and they're not letting you get divorced, you may still have an option to fix your status, and I would be very, very happy to be the one to help you, okay? So give us a call. How long does it take to get VAWA after the application is filed? From Hot M. Hot M, VAWA takes about between 18 to 24 months to be approved, okay? Sometimes there may be a request for evidence which causes it to become to take a little bit longer, but definitely average is about 2 years. And I am getting some messages that people are calling and unable to get a call back. Please have a little bit of patience or send us a message through Instagram with your phone number, because sometimes when our phone lines get a little bit busy, when we get a lot of calls in a row, there can be a little bit of a problem. Why did they cancel the green card interview for removal of conditions who file separately? Okay, from Barbie Champ. Barbie Champ. So when you file a removal of conditions case, sometimes they give you an interview and sometimes they don't. Now, if they're generally satisfied that your marriage is real and that you have enough evidence to prove your case, then they may decide they have the discretion to waive an interview. So that's maybe why they may cancel it. They may also cancel it if they see that, I'm not sure why. Like, let's say that your spouse withdraws their part of the application, perhaps. Maybe that could be a reason why. But I'm not 100% sure. But if you have filed for removal conditions and now you are basically kind of stuck, give us a call, 212-248-7907. Has there been any news on DACA from Latina SRT? Latina, there is no news on DACA right now. It is the same status as last year. If you do a waiver, do you have to go back to your country or not? Yes. If you do a waiver because you don't have a lawful inspection and admission into the U.S., you would have to go back to your country. Daniela says, thank you. My answer of hope. Daniela, I'm so happy to hear that. I'm hoping to hear from you soon. I have a master's degree working here from the last 3 years. Anyway, I can get a green card faster. Engineer, you would need to probably, if you're on a working visa, the general cases, these are not cases that I normally do, but, you would probably have to go through the EB2 or EB3 process, which does have a little bit of time, okay? I put my asylum in 2015. How long do they take? Asylums can take anywhere from 2 months to like more than 5 years. It's the sad truth. There's no telling how long it'll take. Do we need a police report or doctor report for VAWA application from user Ravinder? Ravinder, you do not. A very, very common misconception is the fact that people believe, or they've been even told by other lawyers, that you need to have a police report or doctor's reports to file for VAWA. It's simply not true. It is simply not true for the mere fact that you can prove a VAWA case based upon extreme cruelty by itself. I have had plenty of VAWA cases where we did not have any police reports and no physical violence at all. Emotional abuse counts as violence especially when it causes you psychological harm. Okay, so you do not. If you have been wondering whether you can file for VAWA, maybe you've even spoken to some lawyers already, and they told you that you don't have a good case because you have no police report, nothing, no doctor's reports. Just give me a call because that makes me really upset. 212-248-7907. Okay. What do you mean an RFE? RFE means a request for evidence, and a request for evidence is given by USCIS whenever they need some more convincing or some more documents to help prove an element of your case. How about the I-485? How long does it take for an asylee? From Mast Malang. I-485s for asylees, I'm seeing are taking more than 2 years right now. That's how long that I'm waiting for my cases. So that's the bad news. Is there a provision in the law that allows one to have a visa stamp from the country of origin without leaving the U.S.? From Said Ahmed. Absolutely not, because only a U.S. consulate abroad has the jurisdiction to give you a stamp in your passport. A stamp in your passport cannot be granted a visa stamp in your passport cannot be granted by USCIS, although USCIS can give you other stamps, but not a visa stamp, and only Customs and Border Patrol can stamp your passport for an admission, okay? How long does the forgiveness for the I-601A in California take? From M. Quintana. M. Quintana, the I-601A is taking about a year to a year and a half. First, Wachi, I know you have a question, but I can't answer this because I don't really do H-1Bs anymore, and I don't remember. How long does it take to have a work permit with a U visa waiver pending? Come from Costa Rica. Costa Rica, to get a work permit through a U visa, you need to either be approved for your U visa, or if you have gotten your letter of bona fide determination, then you may be getting one soon, okay? But it's a little bit all over the place right now, so I can't give you a good answer. Okay. Even if you have a parole of asylum, do you have to do that waiver, please? From Frankie. Frankie, if you enter the country on a boat, then that was not, probably it was not lawfully. So yes, you would still need to do a waiver, but you can give us a call for some help, okay? Hi, my fiance and I applied in July 2021 for the K1 visa, but no response yet. How long will it take? I'm in Africa. From Irene. Irene, K1 visas appear to be in a bit of a trouble spot right now. And I know some of you have watched my K1 fiance visa videos before. K1 visas are not being the visa interviews are not being prioritized right now. They are prioritizing the immigrant visa interviews at the consulates overseas to help catch up with the backlog. And K1 visa interviews are not being put on that same level. But you can try to do some sort of expedites if you think it will help, okay? Last question, I promise. Is there a chance my husband ever received my temporary green card after my court marriage here in the US and never told me? We're separated from the abuse and I do not know. Amy, that's a very, very good question. And it's actually a very common tactic for abusers to get your documents and hide them from you or not give them to you unless you give them something in exchange. They basically hold you hostage because they have your documents. And that is definitely 100% that's abuse. So is it possible that your spouse took your green card after marriage? I don't really know, Amy, because normally to get a green card, you have to do the green card process. So if you just got married, then I don't know if you did the process or not. But if you did do the process, if you did start the marriage process with your spouse, and you never got your green card, even though you had your interview and you know that you got approved, then it's very possible they held your green card and you may already be a green card holder. And VAWA may not be the option for you, but give us a call, Amy. Let's find out what we can do for you, okay? What happens to the first-time DACA applicants that had submitted their application before the Texas judge? From Bianca. Bianca, those applications are still with USCIS. They have not made any decisions. They're basically just holding them. They're not making any denial and they're not rejecting them either. So even if you are wanting to file for DACA right now, just because the court is basically making things more difficult right now, I would still say that it's a good idea to get your application in because that can get reversed or lifted or something new can happen. And you may as well just get your application in. They're not rejecting those applications. They're just holding them until a further news. What is the process for asylum applications? From Bella Ang. Bella Ang, the process for asylum applications is that you have to file something called the I-589. And there are two ways of filing this. Number one is affirmative asylum applications are basically done when you're not in court. You're not defending yourself. You're just asking affirmatively for asylum. That's one way of filing it. And the second way is defensively. So if you happen to end up in immigration court in front of a judge and ICE is seeking your removal from the US and you are afraid to go back to your home country, then you can also ask for asylum in front of the judge, okay? And if you need assistance, give us a call. There is generally a 1-year deadline to filing for asylum. This means, Bella, that you need to request asylum or file for asylum within 1 year of entering the US. But what happens if you've been in the US for more than 1 year and now you realize that you need to file for asylum? Well, it may still be possible, but you have to give an argument about why you filed late. And you can give the reasons of either an exceptional circumstance, change country condition, change in your personal circumstance as a reason for your delay, okay? So it may not be too late. Give us a call, 212-248-7907. Sonic is asking you, why don't you answer on Instagram? My friend, I don't know if you can see how busy I am. I have a lot of things to do and I may not be able to answer everything individually. Is it good to apply for a petition for spouse with a green card or with citizenship? I would say if your spouse is a US citizen, then it's probably you're gonna have less restrictions, okay? All right, everyone, I hope everyone has a wonderful night. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave me a comment, leave me a like, follow me everywhere. I really appreciate your support and I appreciate your questions. It gives me a lot of energy and hope to be able to do this. So thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful night.